Hey guys, how's it going? Today it's time for another video blog, and this is September 2016, and I want to go through and talk about several topics that have been in the news recently and comment about them. So first of all, in my other video blogs, I've already talked about some controversial issues and stuff like why I think Hollywood is biased towards Asians, why I think the media is biased towards Westerners, why I don't like present-day feminism, why I like Korean girls more than Chinese girls, why I support banning guns, and all those kind of controversial topics. But today, I also want to give my opinion about some topics I feel a bit strongly about. So first of all, I've lived in Korea almost 2 years now, and I want to talk about some of the things I noticed here and about some of the things that are kind of common in Korean culture but not in other culture. And I just want to talk about something I hinted in my video about Korea. I made a video about Korea versus Japan versus China because I've been to all those places before, and I want to talk about what makes Korea so special and unique. And it's not that well, there's just a few things that you would notice if you visit South Korea as a foreigner. One of the things you notice is that everyone is a couple on the well, almost a lot of couples are on the streets, much more than any other country I've been to. And I think this is a part of Korean culture. I think it's their culture that they depend a lot on each other, and this is something that you don't see in other countries as much because other countries tend to be bigger, they tend to be more diverse. But in Korea it's very special and unique because it's small and there's not a lot of diversity. It's like 99% Korean. But what I also want to talk about is you may have noticed if you travel in South Korea that a lot of people dress up a lot and they care about their appearance a lot. Especially the girls. The girls a little bit more than the guys, although the guys are also dressed up as well compared to guys in other countries. The girls are also much more dressed up here. They always have makeup on and they dress very feminine. They always wear like dresses and skirts, high heels, like at a higher percentage I think compared to other countries. When you go to most countries you'll see that some girls dress up, but most of the girls prefer to dress more casually. Whereas, at least in the West, in America and China, that's what I've noticed, is that most people dress very casually, and only some girls dress up a lot. But in Korea, most girls, like the average girl, dresses up a lot. And why is that? Why does Korea care so much more about appearance? And I think that does have to be, it's kind of related to Korea being a really small and competitive country. The reason, what I think, is that everyone here is very, very competitive. They all graduate university at a high level. They all have a high literacy rate, and 99% of the population is Korean, so they don't have many other ethnicities. And one of the ways to differentiate yourself, I guess, is your appearance. And this has led to present-day Korea, where Korean girls get pressure to get plastic surgery to make themselves stand out from other girls, I guess. And this has kind of led to like a battle, I guess, kind of an increasing competition to see who is the prettiest. So like, she's pretty, oh, I gotta be prettier than my friend, oh, I gotta get prettier than her. And it's led to this escalating issue where like a lot of girls that I met, they don't need any plastic surgery at all, but they get plastic surgery multiple times to get even prettier, and it's kind of like an obsession, you know. And yeah, that's just also related to the fact that Korean companies, they can discriminate on appearance, and this is something that's illegal in Canada and US, but it's completely there in Korea. Like, you send your photo with your resume, and then, or you can go to the interview, you have to show your face obviously, and the employers can discriminate you based on your appearance, especially for women. And this kind of just adds fuel to the fire, you know, I got to become prettier to get a job, etc. And when everyone else is pretty, it's a peer pressure effect, where Korea is a very conformist society. So like, it's not like the US and Canada where everyone wants to be different and you know, everyone wants to be their own unique individual. But in Korea, everyone wants to be like everyone else. It's very conformist society compared to other societies. Yeah, they're very conformist. They want to be like each other. They don't want to be different. So because there's so many pretty girls here, and then this has led to a peer pressure effect where every other girl also wants to be as pretty because they don't want to be different. They don't want to be like the one ugly girl, you know. So And this has to some extent affected by K-pop and K-dramas as well, because of all the pretty actors, and Koreans are very influenced by styles and fashions and trends. So this is probably why, if you look back like 20 years ago, Korea is very, very different than like today, because the fashion sense and everything has evolved a lot. And yeah, I want to say that why is Korea so different than other countries? Why does appearance matter so much more in Korea? How about not in China? You know, you would think that China would care about appearance as well, because Korea used to take its cultural values from the Confucian style, which is Chinese. You know, so why is China not like this? Why doesn't every girl in China care about their appearance as much as Korean girls do? The thing is, China has not gone through the same thing because it's a bigger country, it's more diverse. There's so many different ethnicities and races in China. It's not just like 99% Korean like Korea is. And it was totally communist, you know. It was until recently, like until the 70s, right? It was for about 20-30 years it was ruled by Mao Zedong, who was a dictator. So because of that, it was told during that time it was basically like North Korea now, you know, where it was totally 100% a totalitarian state, and people didn't have any say in anything. Because of this reason, because of the reason that there's a lot of races in China, historically, Chinese people have become more accepting of different appearances historically, because China is a big country and they have, people have different appearances. You can meet Chinese people that look like Western people from the west side of China, and you have Chinese people that maybe look like Japanese, or you have Chinese people that look like Vietnamese. You know, there are a lot of people mixing with each other. So it's a very diverse country that has led Chinese people to become more accepting historically of different appearances. And what I said about China being a totalitarian state is that how this relates is that originally in China, the Confucian society where women was treated below men. This is the same society that Japan and Korea adopted, right? And you still see that today, right? You still, Korea is still a male-dominated patriarchal society, so is Japan. China is still, but not as much, because communism basically erased and replaced that Confucian society to a society where the women worked and dressed the same as men and basically earned the same as men and treated exactly the same as men. So because of communism, this has actually led to kind of a good effect where it has increased the level of gender equality. So this is the gender equality that all the progressives, I guess, in the media talk about these days. It's essentially communism. When you want to treat everyone the same, when you want everyone to earn the same wage, if you want if you want there to be no difference between the gender, then that's communism, right? And that's what China has done. And I know that there is still, I guess people would still consider China a patriarchal society. It's not as bad as Korea or Japan. Chinese girls definitely have more freedom and more rights. Like, they don't have to do makeup all the time for, you know, just for being polite like Korean girls have to do. They don't have to get plastic surgery to get a job like Korean girls have to do. So they definitely have more freedom than Korean girls. As for the USA, for America, appearance, I think, used to be more important back in the 40s and 50s. When you look back at films of that time and pictures of that time, you can see that back then was like a completely different society where the men were definitely treated better than women. Whereas today, the gap is narrowed for sure. But back then, women was definitely below men, right? And everyone wore suits and dresses and hats. And you know, all the women even wore gloves and stuff. So everyone did dress up back then. Whenever you went outside, you can tell even the kids dressed up back then. You know, the old newspaper boy, right? Delivering like extra, you know, all those things back in the 1800s and the 1930s, 40s, 50s. Yeah, everyone dressed up back then. They wore suits, vests, hats and stuff. Now it's completely different. Now everyone dresses however they want. And I think that's because the counterculture revolution of the 1960s, it basically changed the US into a society where everyone dresses differently, can accept people that have a different appearance, right? And some people may not know this, but back then, back in the 20s and 30s, they actually had like exclusively racist acts where they it's not only blacks that were disenfranchised, but like Asians too. They had an act that also like the act was actually called the Chinese Exclusion Act, and it just basically barred Chinese people from coming to the U.S. And that's the kind of racist stuff that you had back then. So you can definitely tell that the culture has definitely changed a lot since back then. Now we are definitely more accepting of people with different appearances, and well, there's still stereotypes, but it's not like the really bad stereotypes from back then. So yeah, in short, that's why you hardly ever see people dress up when they go outside in the US these days, because the culture has changed a lot since the 1960s. But in Korea now, it's still a patriarchal society. The men still have power. I know that the president of Korea right now is a woman, but it doesn't mean that sexism is gone any more than Barack Obama is black and racism is gone. It doesn't mean anything. They still have the highest gender wage gap out of all the OECD countries, even below Japan. And it's not uncommon to see the average Korean girl holding on to her boyfriend's arms, you know, being really feminine, wearing a nice dress or skirt and like high heels and like fully dressed up, while the guy is only wearing like casual jeans or shorts. And I see this like all the time. There's just a huge gender disparity here that you can see. And what I think about this is, I don't think that people should care about appearance as much as Koreans do. That's like a little bit too much, but I do think caring about appearance is important. I'm not saying that everyone should go out and get plastic surgery, but when people care about the aesthetics of everything in the world, like we care about the design of our watches, we care about the design of our computers, like the MacBook. Oh, it looks so good, and now it's in rose gold. Okay, we care about that. We care about our phones. Oh, our phones are so slim. Now it's in this color, it's in this shape, it's so good. The architecture of everything that you see, like the Golden Gate Bridge or the Eiffel Tower. No, or paintings like the Mona Lisa. Like, we care about so many things in our world based on aesthetics, right? And we do that, and because we have eyes and we judge people, we judge things based on how they look. And I don't understand how everyone can care about the appearance of everything else in the world, but when people care about other people's appearance in the Western world, then it's considered shallow. Like in Korea, it's totally normal to say that, oh, you should put on more makeup or you should dress a little better. But in the Western world, oh, that would be considered sexist, right? It's totally opposite in the Western world, because even calling someone pretty can be considered offensive, you know, and people are told not to care about others' appearance because it is quote unquote shallow. But why? Like, I realized that appearance is not the most important thing, that personality is more important, and it definitely is. Personality is definitely more important than appearance, but it doesn't mean that appearance is not important at all, is what I'm saying. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't care about appearance. Like, we do have eyes. If we care about how everything else looks, why don't we care about how other humans look as well? I think about caring about your own looks or others' looks is totally normal, as long as it's not the only thing you care about. Like, because it's the first time I meet someone, the only thing I have to judge someone is on their appearance, right? And what else can I judge about them? Because I don't know how their personality is, right? I have to talk to them. But the only thing I see, if you're walking down the street, I can only know your appearance, right? If I see you somewhere or your picture, that's just your appearance. And that's how usually we get it. We use Tinder, right? Or we go on dates. And then we ask our friends to send you a picture of this girl or this guy. And we judge based on appearance a lot, actually, even though people may not understand this, but we care about appearance a lot, and we should care about appearance because I think it is totally normal as humans to care about that. I mean, if it is, like, I still think if you only care about appearance, then it definitely can be considered shallow or superficial. But I think that you should care about appearance and personality both equally, and I think both are really important in our daily lives. And this is one of the things I kind of enjoy about Korea, is that everyone looks really good. Everyone's always clean and neat and dressed up. They care about appearance, and I feel that, I don't know, if we don't care about appearance enough because we want to pretend that somehow we have eyes for everything else in our life but not for other humans, then it doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, I think that appearance is important, and it's just a part of being human, you know. If other animals care about other animals' appearances, it's just a part of being our biological aspect, right? It's that we have eyes and we care about the visual aesthetics of something. We should care about appearance and just as much as personality, you know. So that's my opinion on that.